So I'm going out for a drive in this 365 GTC4 that I just did some work on. The carburetors were kind of messed up. But what's also interesting today is we're in the middle of a solar eclipse. Does that make a difference? I don't know. I got to drive. So I figure we drive. If the light starts changing, that's the reason. All right, let's see what we got. So this car came out of the truck, and it was not starting right. And I found out that was probably the carburetors. So without going into it and really tearing everything apart, I figured the first thing I do is clean the carburetors up. You know, first, instead of like tuning everything, let me get the carburetors apart. And we'll see what I can get done. Feels good so far. Yeah, it's loud. This baby's loud. Man, that's a lot of droning. The loudest C4 I've ever been in. See if I raise the window, if it's any better. Wow. Something's up with this exhaust. So even with the windows up, this car is pretty loud. So this is my first test drive in this car. So I'm checking to see what kind of tune it's in. And right off the bat, I'm driving it, and this baby's loud, loud, loud. The owner wants me to kind of get it tuned and getting to the point where he could just take it on our rallies. And I don't know if I would be able to handle this car this loud. Well, right now at 3,000 RPM, it seems to be okay. I put it in fifth gear. It's pretty quiet, but I think above 3,500, it really starts to get loud. Like for instance, like right now, we're just cruising along at, let's say, 60 miles an hour, 2,800 RPM. It's pretty good. But let's put it in third. 4,000. Wow, it's a lot of droning. I mean, I guess if you keep it in high gear and drive it, lope along, it's not bad. But you put your foot at this thing kind of really goes and really starts to make some noise. She goes. Feels pretty good. I mean, that's 90. Go down this hill and take some back roads. But so far, it feels like she has pretty good road manners. I mean, the carburetors sound pretty good. I mean, now admittedly I cleaned them out, but I barely tuned them. I mean, I just set them up to what I had before. Oh, these pedals are not set up really well for heel and toe. I just tried to roll my foot on the accelerator. I could not get it over there with the carpet. Noise. I mean, I like noise, but man, I long distance driving, I think that would be a little tiresome. Sometimes what happens is people love these cars that they put like a really loud exhaust on or cut the exhaust so there's really nothing inside of them, but sound pretty cool, you know, sitting and idling and revving the engine. But on the highway, when you're doing, you know, in that sweet spot of 4,000 RPM, and it's making that drone, man, I can tell you, it can really drive you nuts. Can't even hear. Or am I just sounding like an old man? I don't know. All right, so the other thing he wanted me to check was air conditioning. So let me see if I can remember how the air conditioning on this thing works. Let's do this. Turn this all the way down, I guess. Let's see what we got as far as air conditioning. Doesn't feel super cold. That's good sound. C4s always have a great sound. This one's so much more. This one's definitely got the C4 sound and some. So it looks like we got some overcast skies, so I don't know how much of the eclipse is actually happening. I think in New York State, where I am, it's got like a 98% eclipse. So it's not like 100%. A little further north of here it is, but I'm kind of going on my regular day. But what I did notice is, man, traffic is really light. Like, there's not a lot of people out today driving around. Oil pressure looks good, water temperature looks good. Everything looks kind of where it should be. It feels pretty good. This car feels pretty tight. Got a funny little rattle somewhere, probably one of the exhaust shields or something. like outside, you know. I'll get somebody to record this car going by, but this is pretty loud inside the car. But unfortunately, I think the clouds have rolled in, so this eclipse is not really visible. I'll have to take a look. I'll get back. I got my welding glasses here just to take a quick peek of the sky every once and again. But it's funny, right now it's kind of getting cloudy out, so I don't know if it's the clouds or it's the actual eclipse that's happening. Underneath this car and take a look to see what's rattling. There's a couple little aluminum shields that are pop riveted to the floor pan. I think one of them might be a little loose. That's probably what I'm hearing buzzing away. I mean, like I said, the exhaust is loud. It has a very crazy resonance, but it's making other things in this car kind of resonate at different frequencies. So I'll have to check that out. But right now, like, my assessment of the car is that it sounds pretty good. May not need much. Mechanically, feels like it's tuned pretty well. I mean, I'll have to check the balance and see if anything changes, but it seems to pull hard and tweak it a little bit. And then the owner wants me to take a look at the air conditioning, which I'm not an expert on, but I'm going to take a look, see what we could do. Maybe it's probably the original air conditioning system, so I'll have to think about whether it's worth the upgrade. Parking brake could probably use some adjustment. It's pretty high up there. Man, that is one hell of a loud exhaust. But yeah, nice car. Feels good. I'm missing a couple little things. I got a button here that's missing. I wonder if the radio works. Doesn't sound like it. All right, let's take a look at the engine. These 365 engines are pretty, in my opinion. I mean, I think they're pretty impressive when you open the hood. It's got the 6 carburetors, all side drafts with the air filters, and 4 cams all laid out with the wiring and the linkages. It's pretty neat when you pop the hood. I actually really like the way they look, the way everything's plumbed, routed, and laid out. But the other problem with me is I always look at it from a mechanical standpoint, which then kind of takes the shine off of this engine, because when you look at how far back the distributors are tucked underneath there and how to get to them and the wiring that goes to that, the fact that these have the carburetors here on the side means that the intakes cross over the cam covers, so that way if you have to do any service to the engine as far as doing a valve adjustment or anything, all the carburetors have to come off, which means the linkages have to be disconnected. The air filters, you know, I've talked about it before, you can't get the air filters out without taking the air boxes out first. And even just getting the latches, these top latches are easy to get to, but good luck trying to get to the latches below. You're gonna have to contort and figure out how to fish them up from below just to get the latches off. And then the cap doesn't come off because the filters are kind of holding, you know, the clearance between the cap and the booster is so tight. So there's a lot here that kind of reminds me how difficult it is to work on this car. And I haven't even gotten into the electrics, because the electrics, the fuse panel is tucked up over there and it's two-sided. So if any of the relays or anything goes out on the fuse panel, you have to take the fuse panel out and try to get to behind it, because what you see when you take that cover off is just the front side of the relays and fuses. What's hidden behind are the other relays that you don't even know about. and they have all sorts of other stuff, but I'm not going to be counting all that up. I'm just going to try to enjoy what this car looks like right here, right now.